I was invited sort of last minute by a concerned citizen yesterday to the Catawissa Township meeting concerning their data center overlay. So I got out there. There was a rather packed house. The first meeting that I went to for this was North Center Township, and there was a very large crowd there. There was a fair amount of anger and some other things. And each community is a little different with what's going on in their community based upon whether there's an actual data center coming or whether this is just planning. Because again, every community has to have something allowing an area in their municipality for any type of use. So whether a data center is coming or not, all of these communities are working to get their zoning in order, and that's what Catawissa was doing last night. There were lots of well-informed citizens who were both polite and respectful, but also had some very pointed questions and concerns about the possible development. But it was a very educated public. It was great. And there was a packed house to the point that there were many of us who were outside of the building, just sort of leaning against the windows, trying to hear in. I think that the planning commission there for Catawissa Township did a really good job. So while other people were talking and while they were explaining what they had in their ordinance, I took the time to pull that up on my phone and read it over. And I just want to touch on some things that I think are really beneficial to what they have going here. Because again, if you do not have an ordinance specifically stating where data center would be allowed or what some of the parameters are, if a developer comes and says, I want to put one in your community and it's not enumerated in your zoning, they can apply. What you would have to do then is a curative amendment to your zoning, which puts a lot of power in their hands and really complicates things. The town of Bloomsburg had been through that with some other projects with certain developers, and it's not a pretty process, and it's very expensive, and most communities do not have the money laying around to fight these things, which is why it's really important that we focus on our zoning and keep these sort of things up to date, even though it's a really unsexy topic, and most people don't give a damn about it whatsoever, because if it's not affecting your backyard, most people just want to go about their lives. That's understandable. But this, as we're seeing now, is a very important issue. So some of the things that I think that Catawissa did really well is, first of all, in establishing their data center district, they require a certain distance from sensitive receptors. And they outline those sensitive receptors as things like schools, nursing homes, other areas that would have particular sensitivities to possible noise. The other thing that I think is really good is that they have a whole section concerning a community benefit agreement, which means, and I'll sort of paraphrase here, but it says the township shall. Shall is a very important word because if it says the township may, it means there's room for interpretation. This saying shall means that they will require a community benefit agreement for any data center or high impact industrial use, which that's another nice, term to put in there because it covers a couple bases. If they meet more than one or more of the following: gross floor area exceeding 5,000 square feet, peak electrical demand exceeding 1 megawatt, projected water demand exceeding 10,000 gallons per day, which is pretty low, and location within 500 feet of a residential, agricultural, or conservation zone. And it says that the community benefit agreement shall be executed prior to issuance of any building permit and shall address at minimum direct contributions to offset impacts on broadband capacity, police and fire services, water and stormwater infrastructure, roadway maintenance, and noise and vibration mitigation. Those are the main concerns that I'm hearing from many residents in our communities across Columbia County as far as what kind of issues might be present themselves with the development of these types of facilities. And one of the interesting questions that I heard put forth from the community members there last night was, well, by putting in these rules and laying out what exactly it is we expect, is that not making it easier for data centers to come in? Because they know what they're looking for. Is it not better for us to not have any rules and make them negotiate everything? It doesn't work that way. And that's where it comes into the curative amendment. I encourage you to Google that or research that however you'd like. But in a situation where you have a curative amendment because your zoning is not in order, it is usually the person applying that has the upper hand because you don't have your house in order. So what these ordinances are doing is getting municipalities' houses in order to put up the expectations of what they require. And now I would just need you to put on your hat of, if I'm going to develop a data center, here are the things that would need to be required to the township in order to get approval, or even to just put in your application: an overall site layout, a phasing plan, noise analysis, water demand analysis, energy demand analysis, emergency access plan, stormwater management plan, utility infrastructure plan requirements, environmental impact analysis, a vibration impact analysis requirements, landscaping and buffering plan, a lighting plan, and a decommissioning plan. Also, battery energy storage analysis. That was the last one. That is a lot. If you were to just put in a housing development or other things like that, you might have to have a lighting plan or a landscaping plan. Most places you have to put in a stormwater management plan because if you're paving any area, they want to know where the runoff is going to be. But this is a lot of hurdles to jump over. This is what you want to see your communities doing in response to this issue. So kudos to Catawissa Borough Township there. I went in and talked with the folks that are on their planning commission. I think they did a really good job. I printed it off. It's a 20-page document, but there's a lot there that I hope to use as Mayor of Bloomsburg and present to our planning commission. In fact, I've already emailed it off because I think that this is really thorough. And I know that there are still some people who are very opposed to data centers in general, and I can appreciate where you're coming from, but this is exactly what you want your elected officials doing. And good job, Catawissa.